Well, I think the first thing that attracted me to The Last Airbender was, the original cartoon. I mean, it was based off the Nickelodeon animated series. I had heard about it, kind of, did the pipeline through my agency that they were making it into a film, and I was kind of buffing back up on the series, and I loved how fun it was and how it was fun, but it's also very deeply philosophical. And it's something I've always really been interested in, is the questions of finding faith and losing faith and finding yourself, and those are the stories that really moved me. So when I read The Last Airbender, it was just it was gorgeous. It's an action film, but it's also really deep, and it talks about a lot about finding yourself. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of M. Night's work. I mean, The Sixth Sense is incredible. I loved Unbreakable. I mean, I thought The Village was fantastic. Bryce Dallas Howard was incredible in that. And I've been a huge fan of Knight's work for a long time. So getting to work with a director you've admired for many years is a young actor's dream, man. So I'm feeling pretty blessed right now. Well, I play a character called Sokka, and he's from the Southern Water Tribe. Along with his little sister Katara, they find a mysterious boy trapped in the ice who happens to be the long-lost Avatar. And he gets caught by the Fire Nation, and the brother and sister have to go, decide whether or not they're going to try and save this boy. And once they do, if they're going to continue to try and save the world. Well, Sokka, his little sister Katara is the only waterbender left from the Southern Water Tribe. And what that means is she has the ability to manipulate the element of water. She can kind of move it, use it like a weapon, use it as a shield. However, she's not very good with it when she first starts out. And, often enough, poor Sokka ends up getting all covered in ice or water or whatever because she's practicing her waterbending. And Sokka doesn't have any special bending powers himself. He has a boomerang, which he uses, and is pretty good with. But personally, I'm not so good with the boomerang. I broke, I think, 3 or 4 boomerangs on the set of The Last Airbender, and I think 3 spears as well. I was just destroying all my weapons. I was trying to use them, The cast and I went through 2 months of Kung Fu training in Los Angeles before we even started filming The Last Airbender. It's a very intensive martial arts packed film. So we were doing all these different martial arts training, mainly Kung Fu, and I learned some wrestling and some grappling. But that training continued even while we were filming, because there's these epic action sequences, and you got to be able to defend yourself, because the stuntmen and women are amazing. But if the choreography lends some, you have to block. You can't miss, or else you might get hit in the face. So it's one of those things. It was fun. It was a pleasure. It's really cool to get paid to learn Kung Fu, gotta say. Well, I think once The Last Airbender comes out, people are all going to be wondering what bending is. And it's going to be a word, it's going to be out there. And I think, bending, the simplest explanation is to bend an element, you can manipulate it, kind of through meditation, through your thoughts, and your faith within your ability. You can cause water to rise up, or to form into ice, or to turn from ice into water, or manipulate fire. If there's a flame, you can, make it shoot across the room. Same thing with earth and air. These are the elements that these very special individuals, these characters are able to manipulate these elements, and it's really cool. I mean, it looks cool, and it would be a lot of fun to be able to do. But of course, I play Sokka, and Sokka doesn't have any bending abilities. So, in The Last Airbender, there are the 4 different nations and the 4 elements that are able to be manipulated by the said nations. And the Avatar is actually a character who can manipulate all 4 elements. And there's only one in a lifetime. And every time that Avatar dies, he passes on to another. And it's kind of taking a lot from the Buddhist practices and all that. Watching The Last Airbender incredible to see. You know, it's one of those things whenever you're on set and there's a green screen behind you and, you know, Knight's telling you what he's got planned to put in there, but you don't know. You don't know what's exactly going to be around you. And then getting to see it a year later was just astounding. It's like, oh, wow. I mean, you remember every detail of that day, and then you get to see what all these amazing artists who work with ILM and working with Knight have been crafting and creating with the computer-generated imagery. I mean, it's astounding, and it's one thing to watch, and it's a whole another thing to be a part of it and to see yourself in it like that. It was a new experience for me.